All right, guys, lesson 2 from last week. This lesson was supposed to be on the development of the United States Constitution and who the key figures in the United States Constitution were. We covered this before we left for the break, but I just wanted to go over a few things. In the summer of 1787, 55 delegates got together in Philadelphia to revise or rewrite the Articles of Confederation. They very quickly realized that they needed to scrap the whole document and write the Constitution of the United States. It's still the Constitution that we live by today. So 11 years after we declared our independence, these guys got together in Philadelphia. The meeting was from May to September, all summer long. For 55 delegates to be there that long was a huge undertaking. I mean, they had farms at home, they had businesses, they had families, so they kind of came and went as they pleased. On average, there were probably about 30 delegates there daily at the meeting. James Madison was an exception to that rule. He was there every day. He started writing as soon as someone started speaking and stopped writing when the day was over. He's going to be given the name of Father of the Constitution. George Washington was nominated President of the Constitutional Convention. He was a war hero. He was very well respected in the country, and they knew that people would really rally behind what George Washington said and felt. So he was the president of the convention. What they wanted to accomplish was something everyone basically learns about before kindergarten: how to share. How to share the powers between the state level and the national level. That is called a federal system of government, federalism. Today, our federal laws are above or are supreme to our state laws, but they also share powers. So the national government decides some things and the state government decides others. The age you get your driver's license, the age that you can get married legally without your parents' consent, things like that. Education, those are state decisions. They're not federal government decisions. The next thing that they had to go over was separation of powers. In the Articles of Confederation, there was one branch of government, the legislative branch, and we saw that that did not work at all. So in the United States Constitution, there will be 3 branches of government. You're going to have the legislative branch. Congress will make laws. You're going to have the executive branch. The president heads that one. They enforce or carry out the laws. And then the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court at the top, and their job is to interpret the laws. They also instituted a system of checks and balances. It's basically each branch has to ask the other branch permission before they're allowed to do something or not allowed to do something. It's so that we didn't have another tyrant like King George coming in and ruling the country. Our forefathers put those checks into the Constitution because where they had come from was so bad that they wanted to safeguard from it happening again. Let's go through each branch individually. The legislative branch the legislative branch makes the laws. Okay. In the Articles of Confederation, each state got 1 vote per state. And the big state said that's not fair, and the small state said that is fair because we should all be equal. Well, in Congress today, we have a bicameral legislature, 2 houses. So the House of Representatives, which has 535 people in it, is based on population. So each state gets a number of representatives based on their population. California, for example, has 55. Virginia has 11. So it depends on the population of your state. That made the big states happy, very, very happy. Then the Senate, which is the other house in Congress, each state was given 2 votes per state, no matter the size. So every state has 2 U.S. senators, and they vote in the Senate. This made the small states happy. The judicial branch are all of the court systems from the James City County Court all the way up to the Supreme Court. And they interpret the laws. The Supreme Court has 9 justices. They serve for life. There is no term limit. They can retire, and that's how they replace a justice. The executive branch is headed by the president, and he's the top executive, and his job is to enforce or carry out the laws. Let's see. Let's go back to the Constitutional Convention. It was, like I said, it was a long, hot summer. There were a lot of rumors going around that King George's son was going to come back over and rule the country, and nobody wanted that to happen. Even the guys in the Constitutional Convention. So they voted about 40 times to decide on a president to run our country. Now, what was a president going to be like? They weren't sure. Was he going to be treated like a king? Was he going to have a term? Would he serve for life? I mean, all of these things had to be worked out, and they voted again and again and again and all summer. Ultimately, the Constitution was written, and George Washington, James Madison, all of these great men from our country decided that this was going to be the document that worked. They couldn't just decide that. The document had to be approved or ratified by all of the states, 13 at the time, to pass. So they needed 9 out of the 13 states to agree for it to become law. Going back to Mr. Betts, you have a couple videos from him that I think you would enjoy. One is called the Constitutional Convention. One is called the Constitution. I may have shown you that in class. That's with the song Despacito. So some of you may have seen that. Some of you may not have seen that. An amendment are things that can change the Constitution, and they were added at the end of the Constitution. But we'll talk about that in the next video. Also, the preamble, Schoolhouse Rock. Make sure you're watching those. You can YouTube those as well. I'm sorry that you're not going to memorize and write the preamble like I had planned, but if you'd like to, you can still do that. Again, I miss you guys. I wish I was with you. I'm going to put these 2 videos on the YouTube channel and put the link in view so you can access them. And then I'll be adding more and more as we go. All right. Thinking about you. Stay safe. Bye.